Welcome to Walker of Worlds podcast. My name's Rachel, and this is a podcast where we step behind the veil to take a look at some long lost and little known urban legends and spooky stories. The Mapimí Biosphere Reserve is located in the state of Durango in northern Mexico. This 1,321 square mile reserve includes 403 plant species, including 39 different types of cactus, 200 species of birds, and 28 species of mammals. Around 45,000 people live in the area and are mainly employed in agriculture, salt mining, and animal husbandry. A beautiful wilderness of mountains and native plants and animals welcomes anyone who ventures into the heart of the reserve, the perfect place to take in the scenery and breathe in the air. But we wouldn't be here unless there was something strange happening. Welcome to La Zona del Silencio, aka the Zone of Silence. And excuse me if my Spanish is bad. This tiny section of the Mapimí Biosphere Reserve is said to be a spot where compasses spin out of control and radio and satellite signals don't operate. Sometimes it is also known as the northern Mexico's Bermuda Triangle. Despite humans having resided in and around the zone since prehistoric times, it has always been sparsely populated. Even today, the closest community is Cabalos, which is about 25 miles away from the main portion of the zone. And despite not being directly in the zone of silence, television signals cannot be transmitted to this tiny town. The first reporting of the Zone of Silence happened in the 1930s, when a pilot named Francisco Sabia said his instruments went crazy and his radio stopped working while flying over the area. In July 1970, an Athena RTV test rocket launched from the Green River Launch Complex in Utah towards the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, lost control and fell into the desert region. When the rocket went off course, it was carrying 2 small containers of cobalt-57, an isotope used in salted bombs, to intentionally contaminate large areas of land. As part of the cleanup effort, hundreds of tons of soil were removed from the impact site. The Mexican government permitted investigators from the United States Air Force to investigate the incident at the time, which is when the cause was discovered. Due to local magnetic fields that generate a black zone, no transmissions of any kind, including radio and satellite signals, are able to enter the area, prompting the site's popular name. Since then, research has been conducted in the Zone of Silence, which is on the border of the Mexican states of Coahuila, Durango, and Chihuahua. And the Mexican government has built a research center to investigate the region's unique ecology and wildlife. Theorists believe the government is researching more than it admits because there are several abnormalities to investigate. The location is also a meteorite hotspot. 2 meteorites have landed in the same ranch, according to Atlas Obscura, one in 1938 and the other in 1954. Scientists believe the remains of these meteorites have magnetic qualities, which could explain why so many iron-rich objects from space have landed here. In addition to technological failures and seemingly intense exploration by the American government, the Zone of Silence also seems to get quite a lot of UFO-related activity. One of the most interesting of these cases occurred on October 13, 1975. Ernesto and Josefina Diaz drove into the Zone of Silence in their Ford pickup, which they had recently bought. They had decided to travel into the Zone of Silence to search for interesting rocks and fossils. As they explored, they didn't notice that the big desert rainstorm was heading straight for them. Once they did notice the storm, they were worried about the threat of a flash flood, so they decided to pack up their findings and head out. However, they were not quick enough to beat the rain and were soon stuck as the terrain became softer and softer. The couple hopped out of the car and attempted to free their vehicle. As they struggled in the torrential downpour, they saw 2 figures approaching them. These figures, which they described as very tall men, were wearing bright yellow raincoats with matching hats. They offered the Diaz's help with their car. Oddly enough, the men instructed them to get back into their car. As they started up the pickup truck, they heard a pop and realised that their car was back on solid ground. Incredibly relieved that their new car would not be ruined or damaged, Ernesto got out of the car to thank the men. However, the men had disappeared. There were no footprints or vehicle prints, nor any evidence of what tools the men had used to free their truck so easily. Were these strange men from somewhere else? Other UFO evidence has been experienced around the Zone of Silence, including coloured lights, humanoid sightings, and strange effects around the floor of the area, such as burning or unexplained diseases. There have been testimonies about strange beings in the zone, specifically the same 3 people on a regular basis. This trio consists of 1 man accompanied by 2 women, all blondes. One ranch in particular claims more than its fair share of encounters with this trio. According to the staff, all 3 members of the group dressed in clothing that was not at all suitable for a desert environment. Apparently they speak fluent Spanish like natives and were not only extremely attractive but also polite to an extreme. Every visit had the same motive. The 3 would request to fill their canteens with water from the well on the property. They never asked for food or anything else. According to ranch staff, when one ranch hand dared to ask where they originated, the only reply they gave was, "from above." Mexico had the pleasure of a total solar eclipse in 1991, and ever since then the nation has been one of the most attractive and active UFO hotspots in the world. Some of the activity within the zone predates the eclipse by a number of years. One such report of a UFO sighting surfaced in September 1976 in the closest town to the zone. A little before 9 p.m, residents began reporting a massive rectangular-shaped object just hovering still above their heads. Witnesses say that it was about 300 metres in length with alternating coloured lights pulsating around its rim. From within the object, a deep hum was detectable. It seemed to have a detrimental effect on the town's dogs, as every single one howled and would not stop barking at the thing while it hovered. Eventually, the object disappeared within a second or two. Witnesses all agreed that it was headed towards the Zone of Silence. So what exactly is happening in the Zone of Silence? Researchers have come to the conclusion that, well, nothing really. There have been some interesting mineral deposits in the area which they believe could be doing something to the ground, but other than that they believe that the Zone of Silence is just another wide open space with some myths and legends attached to it. Or is it? I like to believe that we live in a world where anything can happen. Look at where we live. We're the 3rd rock from the Sun in a solar system that is part of a much greater universe. We can't be alone in this vast expanse of space. So I'll leave you to make the final decision on whether the Zone of Silence is just a patch of desert or whether something strange really is happening there. If you enjoyed this story, please feel free to check out our website at www.roswellpublishing.co.uk. And until next time, take care and stay spooky.